If you recognize that in the organization where you work for, please sit down. If you see that your organization, your company, where you work, find it difficult to launch new products and services, please sit down. All right, that was one question. All right, half of the audience is left. Second one. Many people struggle with introducing change in the company. If you see that in yourself as well, if you have difficulty in convincing colleagues and team members to introduce change, please sit down. All right. Yep, change is hard. All right. Last few people. Last question. Research confirms again and again that most people are not fully happy in their jobs. If you recognize that, please take a seat. If you're not fully satisfied and engaged in your job, please take a seat. Okay, so we have of the entire audience about, well, what would this be, 10, 15% or something? That's a good score, that's a good score. Take a good look, everyone. So these are the happy people who know how to introduce change and have their organizations innovate. Right? Now that they realize there are only a few of them, they will negotiate for higher salaries tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thanks for your honesty. So few people. Okay, I have a story to share with you. It's a bit loud, isn't it? Yeah, a bit less noise. Yeah, thanks. So I have a story to share with you. I once organized a dinner at my house with my colleagues. I was chief information officer at a company of about 200 people. It was a long time ago, when I was young, like 7 years ago or something. And I had a spreadsheet with all the names of all the employees, and I configured it to give me 6 random names, like 1 project manager, an account manager, 2 programmers, a system administrator, and the chief vice president of the pencils and paper clips. So, the day before the people arrived, I found myself some easy-to-make recipes, usually from Jamie Oliver cookbooks, because they're easy. It's like, throw in a handful of basil and a bucket of tomatoes and shovel in some mozzarella. That anyone can do that. It's easy. And then I did all the groceries. I prepared the kitchen. And when my colleagues arrived, I told them, now you do the cooking for me. Surprise. So after they had recovered from the shock, the project manager would self-organize with one of the programmers and start making the main course. And the other programmer with the account manager would prepare the appetizers. And the system administrator would say, okay, I will do the desserts. And of course, being a system administrator, he did not allow anyone access to the chocolate without permission, of course. And then we prepared the table. And me being a manager, I poured everyone a drink and I watched. Typical management job, right? So I did this 6 or 7 times, and it was always success. I had people self-organize in my kitchen and be happy and productive. And I call that Management 3.0. I created an environment for them to be successful in, and they created connections across departments, and they baked lasagna in my favorite salad bowl, things like that. And I got questions from the rest of the organization. Hey, I heard our colleagues have been cooking for you at your house. That's insane. When is it my turn? So this practice worked for me. This worked. And when I realized that this was a good practice that worked for me, I thought it probably works for other people as well. Maybe I can turn it into a method. What do you think, Dave? I can turn it into a method. I think I'm going to call it collaborative cross-company cooking. I think I could be the founder of the Collaborative Cross-Company Cooking Institute. I could teach people the Collaborative Cross-Company Cooking Framework. I could give them collaborative cross-company cooking certificates, maybe. Hmm. Maybe I can ask Jamie Oliver to join me in the Collaborative Cross-Company Cooking Alliance. Wouldn't that be awesome? No, I'm just making fun of that, of course. I'm not going to do that. But I often get the question from people, Jurgen, what are the 7 practices for all companies around the world that they should adopt in management? Or journalists ask me, what are the 3 things for human resource departments? Or what is the one leadership competence for all managers? And I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how to answer that question. What I do know is there are some timeless principles that allow me to come up with such practices like collaborative cross-company cooking and things like that. Are there any executives in the room? Any C-level people? CIO, CEO, CMO, CXO, we need a bigger bloody L for those? Just a couple of people. All right. Couple of people. All right. Okay, so for you guys, here is the executive summary. All right. Pay attention. Number 1, run experiments, not frameworks. You install frameworks on machines, not on people. Right? So run experiments, makes people happy. 2, manage the system, not the people. Let the people do what they want, but create a system around them that works for them, makes them happy. And 3, focus on the progress, not on the happiness. You don't make people happy. Just focus on the progress. As a side effect, people will be happier. And happy people will be more productive, introduce more change, and have their companies innovate. That's it. That's the executive summary. You can go now. The executives can go. That was it. I'm sure you're all very busy collecting bonuses and firing people and all that stuff. You stay? Okay. That's your own risk. I have pictures of actual people in my presentation, okay? Not just spreadsheets with numbers. All right. Sorry for making fun of the top levels, by the way. I will keep doing that for the rest of the hour, by the way. So experiments. That's what it is all about. I'm going to show you some more examples of experiments and happy people that I have been involved in. I was once at a conference in Barcelona, the Agile and Lean Europe Unconference, it was officially called. And there was a keynote speaker there, Jim McCarthy. Maybe some of you have read his book, Software for Your Head and things like that. And Jim said something that really inspired me. He said, in the Agile communities, you have one thing wrong. You're always focusing on co-location. Always talk about co-location, put people together in one room. And he said, that's not the point. It is useful, it is a good suggestion, but the goal is not geographical closeness between people. The goal is mental closeness between people. And I sat in the audience and I thought, of course, that's it. I had always been annoyed a little bit with the dogmatic suggestion, put the people in the room, one room, and they will self-organize and make things happen. Because the trends are the opposite. People spread out. Remote working, flex time, distributed teams. The 21st century looks very different from the 20th century. So we have to find other ways to achieve mental closeness between people. Because getting them in the same room, as we have now, is useful, but quite often difficult to achieve. So I thought, okay, I have a distributed team with people from Europe and North America, South America, Russia, just 15 people, but they're all over. How can I achieve a bit of mental closeness between the people so far away from each other? Well, I thought mind mapping is a practice that we often use to dive into a certain topic. What if that topic was a colleague of mine or me? So I started creating mind maps of myself and of my fellow team members as an exercise in getting to know each other. This is my mind map. This is my personal map, as you could call it. Just write your own name and then some bubbles around it, like goals and values and hobbies and education. and then explore. And I ask the same thing from my team members. It is now a regular exercise on our team. For example, this is the personal map that my remote office manager Lisette had created last year. She used pictures. That's so nice. I hadn't come up with that, but she is apparently a visual person, so she added photos. Now the important thing is, when we do a personal map exercise, we are not allowed to present our personal maps, because we all know what the extroverts will be doing. They will go on and on and on and on and on about how interesting they are. It's not allowed. You make your personal map, you offer it, and then others have to ask questions. So no presenting, just waiting for questions. So we ask questions like, hey Lisette, why did you have pink hair here? Oh, Lisette said, that was just a phase when I was 19 years old. And that's nice to know these things about someone's past, about their family. Like these are her parents, obviously, and the sister, etc. So we had a conversation about that. We got to know Lisette a little bit better. Here's another one. This is a personal map by Hannu. And you can see that Hannu is from Finland because there's almost nothing on the personal map. It's true. The people, my friends in Finland pride themselves on using as little information as possible. They have to because the words are 5 times longer than in any other language. So my name is Hannu. I'm from Finland. Okay, Hannu, right. Where in Finland? Helsinki. Okay, great. So, and then we got ultimately a conversation going. Hannu is a great guy, by the way. I saw him 2 weeks ago for the first time in Helsinki, where this joke got the biggest laugh from anywhere, by the way, because the Finnish people really agreed with what I was saying there. And we got to know him a little bit better about his family, and I know the name of his daughter and things like that. Here's another one. This is obviously a system administrator. Sergey. So cool. Sergey's from Russia. And he's a system architect as well. You can see that the way people create a personal map about themselves already reveals something about what kind of person they are. That's very nice. I have some colorful ones from my workshops. This one is by Dave. This one is by Terry, by Nicole. I love it when people use colors and markers and get all creative with their personal map. This is Julio. Oh my God, engineering manager, of course. So nice. So this is a practice. I call it a Management 3.0 practice. What are the principles that we recognize here? Does anyone recognize one of the principles that I just talked about in the executive summary? Experiment. Yes. Yep. I ran it as an experiment. I did not install a framework on people. I ran an experiment. Hey, shall we try drawing personal maps? Oh yeah, sounds cool. We did that. It made people happier. Yeah. And also, I did not focus on the happiness. I focused on the progress of getting to know each other. And as a result, we're a bit happier. I know that the eldest daughter of Andy, one of my team members who lives in North America, she wants to be the first person to walk on Mars. Completely useless information. I have no idea what to do with it. But I like knowing this. It creates, it's a bit of a personal relationship that I have then with Andy. So, that was one example. But I have a few more. Did you know that the word management is from the Italian word maneggiare? It means leading horses. Isn't that nice? An organization is like a horse. Not like a machine, like a horse. A living system that you have to take care of, that you have to nurture and feed, and hopefully it doesn't kick you in the face. And some organizations are like racehorses. They have to run in the races and beat the competition. Maybe some organizations are like big, sturdy horses, and they pull carts full of vegetables or fat tourists or something like that. Maybe some horses are a bit like a My Little Pony, a startup or something. Could be. But they're all like horses. I like the metaphor. It's a great metaphor. We have to take care of the horse. Now, sometimes people in Agile communities, at Agile conferences, they tell each other, we have an Agile team. We don't need managers. We have Scrum. Let's put the managers on the list of impediments. The Scrum Master will deal with them. I don't really agree there. I don't agree. I understand the sentiment. There's a lot of bad management out there in the world. But no management, that sounds odd to me. That is like a fully self-organizing team. That is like a fully self-organizing horse, a wild horse. It can do whatever it wants. Right? Now, I don't know about you, but I am not going to sit on a wild horse, slap its ass, say, yee-haw, and then hope and pray that it runs in the right direction. That is not the right kind of management, leading a horse. So we need a way of putting up some boundaries around self-organization to steer the horse a little bit in the right direction so that it can self-organize properly. I have done that with delegation levels. I'm going to show you what that means. There are, in situational leadership, maybe some of you have heard of that term, there are 4 delegation levels. But I call it a management 2.0 practice because it is well intended, but there's still a hierarchy in it. You can only delegate down. I like to see delegation as a respectful relationship between a manager and a team. They can delegate to each other. There is stuff that a team wants to delegate to management. Please take care of this. We don't want to be doing this. So I made it symmetrical, 7 levels, where level 1 is being a dictator. I tell you that you should do this, and you should do that, etc., etc. Level 2 is trying to convince people, sell your idea. I make the decision, but trying to sell it to you. Level 3 is, I'm going to ask everyone first. What is it that you think I should be doing? What do you think that I should be doing? I make the decisions, but I will ask. Right. Level 4 is agree. That would be the typical Dutch solution, consensus. We talk and talk and talk until somebody dies of exhaustion. The winner, the survivor, decides. And then on the other side, we find the team making decisions. But level 5, they have to ask for my advice. It is the opposite of 3. They have to ask for my advice, but then they make the decision. It is okay if they do something else. Level 6 is the opposite of 2. I will ask, inquire. So what is it that you did? Sell it to me, your decision. I may think it's a stupid decision. That's okay. Just sell it to me. Level 7 is the opposite of 1. You can tell me or not, whatever. It's full delegation. So it's a respectful, symmetrical model, as you see. And then, as with putting up a fence with a horse, you can define key decision areas. Like, what about hiring people? What about seating? What about vacation days? What about selecting tools, etc., etc.? How much can people decide things for themselves? Well, just clarify it. That is often the biggest problem, that things are not clear for people. This is a delegation board with key decision areas and the levels. And if you watch closely, you can see that this is a Dutch board. Because Dutch people, like me, we like freedom. We love freedom, but we do not like chaos. We don't, things should not be anarchy. So, for example, salaries, level 6 at this company. Interesting. You can pay yourself whatever you want. Just inform me afterwards. But seating is a level 1. You have to sit there. And you have to sit there. You can pay yourself anything you want. That's okay. But you have to do it on that chair, right? Not on that chair. It would be crazy if people paid themselves salary from any chair in the room. We cannot have that. That would be total chaos, right? We like the freedom of paying yourself salaries. That's okay. It's a bit of an odd board, don't you think? But it's okay. It's okay. This could be the perfect board for for that organization. I have a few more. This is a picture, a photo that was sent to me from Poland. They created a new level 0. That's so nice. That probably means I'm not even going to tell them what I decided. Maybe. I don't know. Could be. Actually, I read in the book Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh about the company Zappos that the CEO was not allowed to tell employees that they were being acquired by Amazon, that they were negotiating with Amazon about acquisition. By law, this was not allowed to discuss with employees. So there are times when you cannot even tell what is going on. So maybe that is level 0. Here is an example from Germany. I love it. Very complicated. Lots of sticky notes. It was a blog post that was published just a month ago or something. And they adapted as well because they turned it 90 degrees, so the levels are now vertical instead of horizontal. That's okay. And they use lots of sticky notes to show different kinds of people in different roles. The pink role can do things, can self-organize differently as compared to the blue role, for example. It reminds me of a Dutch company that had something similar where they connected delegation levels to the seniority of workers. So if you were a junior, you had fewer rights than when you were a senior. If you were a senior, then you had accumulated the right to have self-organize in a wider territory. This one is mine with my own team. To give you an example, we defined, what about expenses? Can people purchase things? Well, we said yes. If it's below 500 euros, you can do that without asking me. 500 euros per month, that's okay. As long as you inform me afterwards, I will ask, inquire. It is nice to know where the money went. That's nice to know. If it's more than 500 euros per month, I would like to agree. I would like to discuss it before you spend it. And that's useful. Now the team knows what they can do by themselves and when they need to discuss it with me first. That depends on how much money it is. Similar decisions we have for hiring people and et cetera, et cetera. So by making these delegation levels available, you can clarify the boundary for the horse, basically. You can self-organize all you want over here until that point. After that point, we have somebody else's territory. There's a game, Delegation Poker. You can download it from this URL, m30.me/delegation poker, if you want to play and discover where the fences are. That is nice, because some Agile coaches, for example, they have played it with key decision areas, asking people, where do you think the delegation level is for tool selection, vacation days, where people sit in the office hours, stuff like that. And then it appeared that teams were thinking very differently about this than managers. Obviously, they were not on the same page, as some people like to say. So, again, an interesting practice. I call it Management 3.0 practice. Which principles did you recognize here? Anyone? Manage the system, not the people. Exactly, yes. I do not tell people which decision they should make. I just draw the boundaries around the territory and then let them self-organize and discuss with each other. So manage the system, not the people. Also, I like to say, focus on progress. There's this nice thing with visualization like this is we want things to move in that direction. We have this urge of, because of Scrum and Kanban and all those other task board visualization, we want things to move in that direction. That would be good. The more sticky note or the more tick marks are in this direction, the more you are a leader instead of a dictator. I would see that as something that would be good for me as a manager to show that plenty of tick marks are in this area. Not all of them, but enough. Let's show some progress. All right. So, a couple of examples of practices. I was, as I said, I was Chief Information Officer for a couple of years, about 6, 7 years. And in the beginning, things were chaos. It was chaos. But I was the one who introduced Agile practices, Scrum, and that worked. Things were better. And something that I was very proud of was that turnover dropped from 15 or 16% to almost 0 in the company. Nobody wanted to leave their jobs anymore. They were happier. That was great. Yeah. Now the question is it the success of these practices and the successful organization that led to the happiness of people? Or is it the happiness of people that leads to organizations being more successful? What do you think? Let's see some hands. You can raise your hand only one time. You can raise your hand only one time. Do you think that mainly it is the success of the organization and practices that leads to the happiness of people? They feel happier when the organization is successful. Would you agree? 3 hands. Okay, well that's not a lot. 4 hands, 4 hands, okay. And how many of you think the opposite? It's happy people leading to a successful organization. All right, I see a slight majority here. Clear majority, all right. Well, yeah, I think I agree, but sometimes I'm not so sure. Like, for example, I read a couple of books that gave me these quotes by Sean Aker. The Happiness Advantage, I gave it 5 stars. We now know that happiness is the precursor to success, not merely the result. So he seems to agree with most people in the audience. Happiness comes before success. But Phil Rosenzweig, the halo effect, I also gave that 5 stars. He says, does employee satisfaction lead to high performance? Probably, but the reverse effect is stronger. And he is a professor. So he is not a stupid person. But he talks about satisfaction, not happiness. Is that a different thing or the same? I don't know. My God, complicated, complicated. It's even complex, I think. It's even complex. So it's probably a bit of both. Hopefully it's a virtuous circle. They both feed into each other, happiness and success. Despite all the complexity, the simple fact is, happy workers achieve more. Even if you're not an agile top manager or whatever, there is a return on investment here that you can see. Happier people, more productive, higher profits. Easy, easy. So there's a business case. Then I thought, what is it that gets you happier people in the organization? What can you do? What makes people happier? I thought about this a couple of years ago. I was in Argentina, interesting country, nothing works, everyone is happy. It's true, it's true. There's not a single cash machine in all of Buenos Aires where I could get money. But it is one of the happiest countries on the planet, according to the research. So I was interested in the happiness thing. I remember I was sipping a cocktail somewhere in Buenos Aires. I had to pay for it by reselling the air conditioning from my hotel room. And I was doing a bit of research into the research, meta-research. What is it that all the articles about happiness seem to agree on? The things that make people happy. This is what I found. I found the same things again and again. Thank someone and be appreciative towards your colleagues. Give something every now and then to another person. Help someone who is in need of assistance. Eat well, healthy foods. Exercise, work out regularly. Rest well, sleep sufficiently. Well, not for me today, I'm afraid. Experience new things and experiments. Hike outdoors, enjoy nature or the beach. Meditate and mindfulness practices. Socialize, hang out with other people. Aim for a goal, a purpose, and smile whenever you can, even when you have to fake it. That's what the science says. Yes, even when you have to fake it. Smiling, if your body posture and the way you put your face has an influence on how your brain works, according to science. So even when you feel a little bit sad, just put a smile on your face. And then you will trick your brain into believing that you're a bit happier, and it will actually have an effect on how you feel. Fascinating. So I call these the 12 steps to happiness, because happiness is not an achievement. It is a choice. These are simply things that you can choose to do, and they will have an effect on you as a human being. It is a path, not a destination, as some researchers say. So, let us do a test with this audience. Let's see how much you have chosen to be a happy person. I would like you, start with the easy one. I would like you to stand up if within the last 24 hours you thanked someone. If you thanked someone in the last 24 hours for something that they did for you or something else. All right, look at that. Good. It's a very thankful audience here in Dubai. I appreciate that. All right, cool. You can sit down again. Let's try another one. Maybe more difficult for some people. How many of you have eaten well in the last 24 hours? No French fries, no hot dogs, no hamburgers. Good food. Good food. Okay, half of the audience had good food in the last 20. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's try another one. How many of you have meditated or applied mindfulness practices in the last 24 hours? Meditation and mindfulness. Wow, that's cool. That is, in the morning, that is so awesome. You have to teach me how, because I'm really bad at this. Awesome. That's so great. All right, thank you. Thank you. Let's see. One more. How many of you have went outside and enjoy nature or the beach or just fresh air, get out of the office in the last 24 hours? Okay, that's half of the audience. But you're doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then the easiest, of course, how many of you had a good workout exercise in the last 3 minutes? Everyone. You're so tired, you're not even standing up anymore. And I see it's working, all happy faces everywhere. And I don't think you're faking it, by the way. Okay, so as I said, I call these steps to happiness. It's a choice that you have. Also, as a manager and leader and just a coworker in the company, you can do these things with your colleague. To give you an example, I once did code reviews with my team outside in the sun, many years ago. When I had a couple of teams that I led, I told them, you print your classes and interfaces on paper and just let's go outside. I had to drag the programmers from their caves into the fresh air. Oh my God, it's so bright, it's so bright. Turn it off, turn it off. No, you can't turn it off. That's the sun, you bloody idiot. It's the real thing. Now just sit here, and then we had a nice code review, and they appreciated that. And then they did it more often, even without me. I call that's hiking. It was only 100 meters. But I call it hiking. It is enjoying the fresh air and getting out of the office. Running experiments, experience. Having new experiences is what you achieve when you run experiments. You're trying things out. This is what children love to do as well, like playing. So these things make people happier. You can download this poster if you want, m30.me/12 steps. Which is a reminder again that these are choices that you have, right? Choice. Let me stand. I've had many people take pictures. The choice that you have, it's a path, not a destination. But I have a few more. Let's see how I'm doing time-wise. Oh, I'm doing fine. There's about 15 minutes left. Cool. Another practice, another thing that I have experimented with. Is anyone familiar with the concept of the bonus system? Yeah, I see some people nodding their heads. Yeah, okay. It works like this. In a traditional environment, companies pay people a steady amount of income throughout the year, and then at the end of the year, there's suddenly a lot more for some people. And usually, the managers apply what is called, according to researchers, the Zipf law, or the Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule, which means 80% disappears in the pocket of the CEO, and 20% goes to everyone else. It's so very kind that 20% goes to all the other people who have worked for it so hard. Then the question is, who gets how much? Who gets how much? That's a difficult decision. And traditionally, top managers decide who gets how much, and it sort of trickles down the hierarchy, and at the end, at the bottom, there's nothing left. So, you know one thing for sure with this system is that everyone will hate the manager for not doing a good job at deciding who gets how much of the bonus money. An alternative practice, often suggested at Agile conferences, is just pay everyone the same amount all through the year. Just get rid of that bonus thing. It just makes people unhappy. Just pay them the same, a steady amount. I understand it is well intended, but I don't believe it works. You know why? Because of the problem of entitlement. People always believe they earn more than they really do. 70% of drivers in the world think they are above average drivers. 80% of college professors think they are above average professors. That makes no sense, right? These are professors, smart people. They should understand the concept of 50%. Right? I'm quite sure that among professional keynote speakers, 90% think they are above average. Right? So the conclusion is you should not use that information, and even more, if you pay everyone the same, you're very sure that most of them will be demotivated because they believe they are entitled to more. I just saw research 2 weeks ago in Science Daily. They actually measured this with teams. They had people write in percentage how much they thought they contributed to the team effort. They collected all the percentages across the team. You know how much was the average? 140%. And it was bigger the bigger the team was. So the larger the team, the more people overestimated their own contribution. So I prefer this. I want something, as a CEO, as a manager, I want some of the money that we earn together to go to the people. They work for it. And I still decide how much that is. That is my responsibility. But I do not decide who gets how much. I don't want people to hate me. Right? I prefer that they hate each other. So what I do, and many companies have started doing similar things, I leave it to the crowd. What we actually have is we have a bonusly, bonus.ly, which is a tool, but there are many more. It works as follows. Every month you have 100 points. And you have to get rid of those points throughout the month in any way you like. Just give points to your colleagues. You cannot give points to yourself, obviously. Only points to other people. So Andy got 10 points from Patrick for automating the onboarding workflow. Jennifer got 10 points from Patrick for being patient with his learning process. Patrick got 10 points from Joris for a good discussion about structure. And every time we give each other points, and this is all transparent and open for the team, we can also add tags like patience, thoroughness, learning, commitment. So we add our team values to the compliments that we give each other. And then throughout the month, we collect points from our peers. This is actual recognition in a measurable way. You can see human resource departments love this. This is actual data that you have about peer-to-peer performance measurement. How much have you been appreciated by your team members in a continuous fashion with micro-credits? So every day I can credit other people. I just have to get rid of my points. because they were gone at the end of the month. And then I start again with 100. So we accumulate points. It gets more and more. And every now and then we need payout. When is it time to pay people? Because there's also bonus money available. Well, this is what we do.
Okay, dice.
Oh, come on, big money, big money.
Everyone give it a kiss. Come on, lucky dice. We love you, we love you. Oh, it's a 6.
Yay, it's a 6.
Can you see? Can you see that?
So we have a rule. Every month, someone throws a dice once. If there's a 6, there is bonus money. No 6, no bonus. Easy. Easy. And then if there's no bonus, no 6, the money simply moves to the next month. It is like a jackpot that keeps accumulating, getting bigger. And every month they have to try and throw a 6. It's like we have our own little Las Vegas casino. The team loves it. And the funny thing is, the one who threw the dice, that is Louise. She is British, she lives in Spain. She has to throw the dice for the team. The team wants her to throw the dice because she has the lucky hand, the team said. Makes no sense. She threw a 6 this month, but the previous time was 5 months ago. So why do we do this at random? Well, I know from earlier experiences, if you promise that bonus time is in December, for example, then everyone will already have spent the money even before they received it. And then if it's less than they expected, people will be demotivated. So it is impossible to make them happy with such a process. So we keep it random. You never know when there's a bonus. You can't spend it until you actually have it. You have to throw a 6. It could take a year. And as you can see, they love it. It's a great practice. So, peer-to-peer crediting. There are different tools for that. We use bonus.ly, Bonusly, but there are others as well. I have one more practice, and about 7 minutes left. I was once in a lunch meeting with my CEO, and I said, we never celebrate anything in the company. We never stand still and appreciate things that we have been doing. We should celebrate. He said, okay, that makes sense. What do you suggest we do? I said, well, maybe have something that makes a lot of noise, like a bell that we can ring when there's something to celebrate. Okay, good idea. Then I forgot about our conversation. 2 weeks later, he came to my desk with this bell. A big copper ship's bell. It was the actual bell. Whoa, awesome. He said, here's your bell. Now do something useful with it. Okay, cool. So I went with the bell to the office manager, sorry. And I asked her to put the bell in the middle of the office. We had a huge open office space, a former factory that was redesigned, 150 people in that building. And at any time, anyone was allowed to ring the bell. And it would make a huge noise. And 150 people would gather from all of the office around the coffee machine where the bell was. Usually they expected cookies or cake, of course. That helps to incentivize them. And then the person who rang the bell would simply explain what there was to celebrate. For 5 minutes, everyone applauding, and off we went. The last time I heard the bell was when the CEO announced to everyone that I had just quit my job. It's true. I was there again 2 years ago, and the bell was still there, and I quit my job like six years ago. And I asked them, are you still ringing it? Yes, they're still ringing it, which is totally awesome. So at least one practice survived at that company. Now, the question is, when do you ring the bell? What is a good moment for ringing the bell? When should you celebrate? Sometimes, let me see some hands again. Sometimes at Agile events, people say, we should celebrate failure. It's okay to fail. Let's celebrate it every now and then. Who agrees? Celebrate failure. Let's celebrate failure. Yeah, okay. Celebrate failure, yeah. A little bit. Okay. How many of you say, well, let's just celebrate success. That's better. Let's celebrate successes. Okay? More hands, usually more hands. How many of you say, let's just celebrate everything. Failure, success, doesn't matter. Party all the time. Party all the time. That doesn't make any sense, people. So, here is a model that I created based on the work of Donald Reinertsen. He is an amazingly intelligent person, 10 times more intelligent than I am, but I'm a 10 times better illustrator. Donald said to me, no, Jurgen, you are a 100 times better illustrator. We do not agree on the details. Anyways, he wrote a very complicated book, Principles of Product Development Flow. Nobody's able to read it. I got halfway. I gave up. But this is what I got from the book. I visualized what Donald meant. We have good practices because they usually lead to success. We call them good practices, not best practices, because sometimes good practices fail. That can happen. Yeah. There are also mistakes, bad practices, but I call them mistakes because usually we don't do them intentionally, and they usually lead to failure. Though sometimes mistakes can be successful. You're being a stupid idiot and you're getting away with it. That's possible. That's possible. Now, in the middle, we find experiments. And we call them experiments because we don't know if the outcome will be successful or not, if it's success or failure. We have 50-50 chance, Donald says, then there is optimal learning according to information theory and all that stuff that he understands and I don't. So we don't learn anything when there's a good practice that it succeeds. We don't learn anything when a mistake fails. We already knew that. We learn when a good practice fails or when a mistake succeeds, but that doesn't happen that often. Now, celebrate failure, which is something that you read quite a lot online. It's quite fashionable. There's even a failure conference to celebrate all the failures that people had. I don't get it. Because celebrating failure means celebrating this red part of the diagram. Why would you celebrate this area over there? You're being an idiot. Don't celebrate that. Celebrate success makes sense, but there's a catch. If that is the only reason why you're ringing the bell, when you have success, when you have a new customer or a big project delivered, you're basically sending people in that direction. You're pushing them here, and they will prefer to repeat good practices. And then who is going to run the experiments? Ooh, scary, because you might fail. Yes, that is the point with an experiment. It might fail, but the learning is optimal here. It turns out networks are great at learning. Yeah. Hierarchies are great at repeating good practices. If they're big, we call them enterprises. Hierarchies are also great at repeating mistakes, by the way. When those are big, we call them governments, usually. What we need are networks and hierarchies. John Kotter, famous for leading change, wrote a book recently called Accelerate. He said, you need a dual operating system in the company. You need networks for learning. This is where all the learning takes place. You need hierarchies for repeating the same thing. That's what hierarchy is good at. The first smartphone, invented by a small network of very smart people, Steve Jobs, John Ivey, etc., etc. The other 1 billion copies, that's what a hierarchy does. That's when you have Gantt charts and planning. You already know the outcome. You just want more of it. Of course, Agile is often here because every new product is basically an experiment. That is why all our stuff is basically here. The PMI does a lot of this stuff, of repeatable things. We know what the outcome is. It's the 10,000th same building. Then you know you can plan those kinds of things. So, celebrate success, but also ring the bell for something that you learned, even though you failed. So when people say celebrate failure, they mean let's celebrate the learning even though we failed. That is the important nuance. I call this a celebration grid. You can use them in retrospectives. It's basically the visual way of asking the questions, what should we start doing? What should we stop doing? What should we continue doing? So what we should start doing is run new experiments. What we should stop doing is anything that failed. What we should continue doing is anything that succeeded. Same questions, just in a visual way. Sometimes I draw a funnel here at the top to emphasize we have to run new experiments, drop new experiments in. What can we try in the next iteration, next sprint, next workshop? Here's an example from a Dutch company. You can see these are Dutch because they finished right before 5 o'clock. Yay! Done. Let's go home. Very punctual. So, another practice, another example of running an experiment, managing the system. Lots more ideas that I have. I could go on all day, but you have other speakers to listen to as well, and they're even more interesting than I am, I'm quite sure. So you can read all those in a book called Workout that has been renamed to Managing for Happiness, and that will be available in June. Make sure to sign up. Just go to the page m30.me/happiness and sign up to the mailing list, and you'll get, I don't know, a discount, autograph, whatever. I will think of something interesting for the readers. I have last anecdote, then I'm going to shut up. Last year, one of my team members, Jennifer, told me, Jurgen, you are my first manager who doesn't suck. I had to think about that for a few seconds. Okay, thanks, Jennifer, because I think that was a compliment. It took me 20 years from being a manager to not sucking anymore. I might consider this as the new tagline, Management 3.0, don't suck. Sounds awesome. So I hope that you learn faster than I did, and that you don't suck anymore in the near foreseeable future. Do a lot of learning, run a lot of experiments. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much, Jurgen. Enjoyed. One thing that we forget to tell you, it's about how you feel the happiness index. They are here and over there. So you have in your bag, you have sticky notes. Wow. So you can take in your bag, open your bag, just want to see if you get your sticky. Management Agile Middle East pochette, yes. So you get something sticky. They are magic sticky because they are sticky by electricity. They can stick everywhere. So, and I think also you have a pen. You know, in all the conference you have pen. It's a basic of the conference. Okay, no good conference with no pen. So you take the sticky. You write on the sticky one idea, and you can stick the sticky on the happiness index. When it's green, it means it's something that you like so much. If something that is red, it's something that you need, you think that really we need to improve next time. Okay? It sucks.
I tried to put the sticky as high as how tall the speaker is.
Okay, this is not, okay, sorry, Jurgen, this is not the rules.
Oh, that's not the rule.
No,
sorry, I
that's not the
misunderstood.
rules, okay. So you are free to do whatever you want, okay? So before leaving the room, thank you to write 1, 2, 3 comments. 1 comment per sticky, it's easier when you want to. And you put on the happiness index. Thank you. Maybe, is there any question to Jurgen? We have 1 question. Okay.
1 question.
You talked about managing the system, not the people.
Yeah.
I don't fully get that because when you manage the system, you manage the people, and vice versa. So it's very difficult to separate the people from the system the way you explain it. So if you can elaborate on that, thank you.
Good question. I think it's about how we use the terminology. What I mean by managing the system is, let me give you an example. If I am having a one-on-one conversation with a team member about that they're not feeling very happy, and I'm trying to understand that person and doing something for them that they are happier again, I am basically already operating in failure mode, because I should not be having such conversations. I should go to a higher level and think, how is it possible that I am now ended up in a situation with an unhappy person? I should not have been here in the first place. They should be happy with each other and having one-on-ones with each other in a bar or at a cafe or whatever. So that is what I mean by managing the system. I try to take care of the environment, of purpose, of values, of well, we don't have an office, but our virtual office, the great work that we do, and silly things such as collaborative cross-company cooking or doing code reviews in the sun, and then the happiness will come. And delegation boards is another example of that. I explain where the fence is until where they can make decisions, but I try not to get involved in all the individual decisions, because then I am in failure mode again. So for me, that is the difference between managing the system versus managing the people. You are completely right if you say, well, indirectly, I will still be managing them, of course, but I try not to focus on the individuals. I focus on the environment, and indirectly that will have an effect on people. That is true. Yeah. So I hope I explained it better. All right. Thank you. Enjoy coffee, tea. I will be around for any further questions. And have
15
a nice day.
minutes.
15 minutes. All right.